So a little while ago, I did a video on space punks. It looked like Borderlands in an ARPG universe, and the two mixing together, I thought, wow, this is absolutely amazing. I'm so excited. I can't wait to play this. And I was so excited, and I thought to myself, I'm going to make loads of videos on this. I'm going to do lots of different characters. I'm going to show all the abilities and showcase how cool this game is. Instead, I'm just left with this weird mix of disappointment and anger, and I'm just making a video in pure heat and rage. Before I get into the whole why I'm disappointed with this, I really hate the term early access. There needs to be some sort of sliding scale. The term is just too blanket catch them all, and it allows developers just to apply this stamp and then release any old crud. What it should be is early access alpha, early access beta, or at least some indication of where it stands in its whole release process. Because let me tell you now, this is not a beta, this is an early access alpha. Anyway, I woke up this morning, I put the money down for the early access, get the bundle and all the other DLC perks with it. I wanted to have instant access to all the characters so I could play them through, see all their abilities and have some fun times with them. And instead of having this beautiful breakfast of ARPG-ness, it was like someone had spread poo on my toast because I was left with this disgusting taste in my mouth. So I'm going to try and break this down and be a little bit objective and not just try and get into a giant wave of descriptive words on just how terrible I think this is, just to give it a little bit of fair representation. But let's start at the beginning. Anyway, I load in, there's 4 characters to select with, and they've all got a range of abilities. I will do a video on this if you are interested, just so you have a look at the features. Anyway, I selected Eris because she looked cool, because she's got some sort of symbiote thing running down her arm. Not within 5 seconds of getting onto the ground, I'm hit with my first wet slap to the face. Loot boxes. I don't mind them, but I hate having them rammed down my throat. And the robo AI is like, hey, you've done your first mission, here, have a first taste of your generic box that you open. Now, I don't know, maybe it's me being overly critical as an ARPG player, but I like to see the physicality of what item I'm actually working with. I don't want to have to stick my hand in some proverbial snake box just to pull out a weapon that I'm going to play with. It gives you no visceral representation. I don't look at it and go, ooh, that's so cool, that's magical. I just see big yellow random roulette wheel. So I look at my progression tree and it's literally loot box, oh, you can go to a new map, loot box, you can go to a new map. But I thought, okay, don't worry, well at least maybe when I open these boxes, the weapons will be cool and we'll see some new shinies and it'll be loads of fun. Because at this point, I still haven't actually played the game. I thought to myself, I'll go down and I'll play my first mission because the gameplay will obviously be good. You know, obviously the monetization model isn't that great, but gameplay at the end of the day is why I'm here. And then I land on the planet and oh my god, things only go from bad to worse. So let's talk about the ARPG-ness, the loot again. Oh my god, no. Do enemies drop items? I'm not sure. I didn't see a single enemy drop any items, but what's on the ground? It's more bloody boxes. Everything is a box. And when you open the box, are the box filled with brimming items? No, they're filled with currency. Yellow, uninteresting tic-tac like things on the floor that you gotta pick up. I felt like I was playing one of the games from the Lego-verse. And then I finally open up enough of these stupid loot boxes on the floor and this purple thing pops out and it tells me I've got a weapon. But no, unlike a normal ARPG, I can't look and inspect my shiny item. I've got to go back up to the ship to have a look what I've got. Okay, so anyway, we're on the ground and we're hacking away when I suddenly notice that I don't actually have any abilities and that they haven't been unlocked. Okay, I guess I have to do the first few missions to actually progress and get access to them. That's okay. Unfortunately, I'm hit by another problem at this moment, and believe me, I'm still really hyped and really wanting to love this game, but I'm bored. The combat is really boring. You have an aim ability where you can shoot the gun, and you have a melee ability where you can hack the enemies down. I'm not sure if it's because the enemies have just been copy-pasted all over the place and they just feel kind of meh, or just the fact that when you connect, you just don't really get any sense of satisfaction. The weapons feel like you're throwing a feather duster around, and the ranged weapon just didn't feel like it had any use, or just, I never really felt enthused to pull it out and use it. In fact, the only reason I did really fire it is because I wanted to see what the animations looked like. I don't know if it's because I dreamt up this beautiful scenario in my head, but I thought the whole idea of having a sword and a gun was that you'd end up with this beautiful silhouette of combos, and they seem to have this overlapping function. But no, they have their own unique representation. It's like, oh, I'm just hacking stuff with a sword, or I'm choosing to shoot something with a gun. They never really felt they had any synergy between the two. Anyway, I shrugged it off. I thought, it's the first level, there's still hope. I haven't unlocked any of my abilities. So I completed the quest and got my next wave of loot boxes for doing what I was told to do. And this is where I thought, talent trees, this surely is where things start to get more interesting. But no, this is where I start to lose my duding mind. I get it again, it's an early access game and you might not have that many abilities. But if you only have 4 abilities, why would you spread them over levels 1 to 43? And then, when I had a closer inspection of what the actual abilities were, they weren't new abilities, they were just X ability 2, X ability 3, and it just had a flat damage increase. How could this game with so much potential and interest become so uninspiringly boring and painful to play? I had to play the game for half a bleeding hour before I even unlocked my second ability. So then I opened up the talent tree. I thought, oh my goodness me, praise the Lord, it's got Path of Exile sized talent tree. There's millions of talents to select from. Admittedly, a lot of them didn't actually have anything so you could do with because they were all coming soon, but I thought, oh look, lots of potential. But when you have a deeper look and see what they actually do, oh, it's just another snooze fest of flat increase on damage stats. And you're just given 3 mediocre branches of HP, Scavenger, which is like movement, and then you got Soldier, which is melee. Even at this point, I wasn't like, oh, this game is so rubbish. I was just like, okay, it's not the greatest, but let's go back down to the planet and do some more killing. I've got my new ability that I've spent 20 minutes getting, I may as well give it a try. And it was when I got back down to the planet, and 5 minutes in, just my soul had drained away from this game, and it was beginning to eat at my happiness, and I closed it down. Because the abilities were just boring. The issue is the characters just don't have any tie to the actual weapons and the melee weapons that they're using. All the characters have the same generic sort of playstyle and animations with some variants using their abilities. My one just so happened to stun people on the floor, so now they stayed still when I generically slashed them on down. It's not just one thing with this game, it's a whole compounded pile of them that just weighs on top of you until eventually your hope snaps and you're not having fun anymore. Little things like not having a minimap, everything just being a loot box, drops on the floor just not being interesting, enemies not being that interesting or engaging, and don't even get me on the whole gear progression thing. I got the same rifle 3 times in a row with just slightly more damage on them. No interesting looking skin, no revamp on style, just +2 damage. So if you would like my final verdict, I highly recommend that you save your money. If you want to do something a bit better with it, maybe give it to charity, because this game at the moment is a giant pile of steaming garbage. It is uninteresting, it is uninspiring, it is boring, it needs tons of work, if not a rework. The game is very pretty, but it takes more than just making something look like Borderlands, slapping ARPG on it, and dangling the allure of looter shooter in front of people to make a good game. Thankfully, it's still in early access, and maybe they will take some community feedback and input into the game, and we will see something slightly different. But at the moment, it needs some serious love. I really did want to love this game and make some good content around it, but unfortunately, it just isn't the case. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to my rant. I don't really go on rants all that often, or at least I don't do them on YouTube. So thanks for listening. I hope it helps you, and yeah, I'd love to know your experience with the game if you have picked it up. I'll summarize my experience in the great words of Robot. Danger, Will Robinson, danger.